Hello, ladies and gentlemen, go for Graveyard and welcome back to Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Nice to see I haven't lost my intuition for people. Not many would have managed to set out to the Stolen Lands and return with the Stag Lord's head, but I knew you could handle it.
And yeah, now that Jumandi's finished talking, yes, we killed the Stag Lord and everything, and now we've come to get our barony.
You've pulled it off even faster than I expected. Very good. We were short of time, and these months you've won for us proved very useful. Lord Mayor Selemius especially appreciated it, and asked me to give you this little token of gratitude.
Yeah, it's if you do it in less than 60 days, which on your first playthrough, if you don't know where you're going and stuff, may be a little difficult. But if you played through the beginning bit enough, you should know exactly where you're going and everything, and it shouldn't take you anywhere near that long. I mean, if you do more exploring and stuff than I do, then you could probably stretch it to its limit, like finish on the 60th day, and you should still get this, even though I think it's only just an item you get. I don't think it, it doesn't matter.
Congratulations are in order. Today, you'll receive the title of Baron before the High Society of Restov, and even Natala Sertova personally. God's bless her. Tomorrow, you'll be able to return to the Stolen Lands if you wish, but this time as a ruler. But matters of state can wait. For now, enjoy this feast in your honor. All the city leaders are here. It's a great opportunity to make some useful connections. Speaking of connections, let me introduce you to Kasil Eldori. He's my adopted son and apprentice. He's a trustworthy man. I'd like to send him with you as an envoy. Yes, you certainly. What's now
All utter rubbish. It literally means nothing.
Maybe the more
just so we can just skip past it.
I hope you have a better Of course. Keston, enjoy your.
You need to take an envoy with you. You don't get a choice in that. But, I mean, it's welcome anyway, and I would advise taking Kasil. I mean, it depends what kind of character you're playing and who you want to side with and stuff. But, obviously he does favour the Sword Lords in some affairs, but he is actually a decent person to have.
Drink with me.
Of course, yeah.
Beauty. It sweetens our happy days and brings solace to our dark and sorrowful ones.
Actually, now that we're here, I'm wondering if anyone noticed something about Kessie that we would have first seen when we first met her, because she changes a lot, like her personality goes all sorts of different ways. So, if you noticed anything.
I came to apologize. I know the words I said in our conversation with Lady Aldery might have offended you, but this was not my intention. The lessons life has dealt me were not easy. I've learned to be wary of new acquaintances, which is why I've refused to join your party. I hope you will forgive me for this weakness and for my harsh words. And I hope you will hear me out, for I have something to tell you. How amusing. Usually those who don't seek affection are the very ones who receive it. Anyway, enough sweet talk. There is something important I wanted to tell you. As it happens, I came across some very valuable information. What brave conqueror of the shore you'd like to finally gain your official title and celebrate your victory. And I don't like noisy parties and ceremonies. Find me when you return to your dominion. I'll rent a house in your capital. We can discuss the details of our expedition there.
I don't know why it's necessary to rent a house if, she could probably just... I mean, actually that's an interesting thing. I don't know where your companions live, because they all pop up somewhere, they all have a usual hanging out place, but she's actually the only one who actually you find in her house. You find a couple of them in the tavern, a lot of them will hang around in your throne room, and then a couple of them will just hang around town.
So long, friend. I'll call you so today, because soon enough, all you'll be hearing is, Your Grace, Your Grace, Your Grace.
Lindsay. Ah, here he is. Mugavan. Love this dude, he's pretty cool actually. Now, there is actually DLC called Varnhol's Lot, where it's basically you follow like his story from when he becomes Baron of his own land and stuff. You play as his right hand, his general, and you do quests and stuff, because later on down the main quest line of the main story, you have to go and find out what happened over there, like something's gone wrong, and help Varn out. And of course, that DLC is obviously related to that, I assume. I haven't actually finished playing through it or anything, I've only done the first bit, but from what I can tell, obviously, you play through the events of Varnhold and see what happens there, which is probably a good thing, 'cause of course, if you've been through the events before, when you get there you'll know what to do and stuff, but, you know. The thing I like about this guy is how he's just like, you and me, we've just become nobles, we've come from nothing and just been given these titles, so we need to hang out together, yeah. We need to be close buddies. You can talk to Lander here, but honestly, no point. Because he's one of the other people you can have as an envoy, but from what I know, he's... You know, he's a shady person and he has more his own interests and the interests of the upper class close to heart. Look, the other Baron who's been a Baron for ages and hates anyone who isn't a noble. He's like, oh, you guys just been given it by killing some people and stuff. Puh. Pathetic. You know, he's what a loser. Now, there's a speech check here I want to pass, mainly because of what it gives you. It's this one here, yep, there you go. So now, your first shrine that you build in your capital will be completely free, you won't have to pay for it. Now, it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it saves you money on obviously having to build your own. You can talk to Joseph here, but there's no point, because he'll ask you this, and at the beginning this helps because you're given extra resources to build stuff, so you'll start off with a little extra, you know, stuff to build with, but you'll end up having to pay more, like, in the long run, so you'll end up earning less if you choose this, so you'll earn, like, less money, basically.
So, how do you like
and
our
things will be
little
more
gathering?
expensive to build.
Made some useful connections. Shall we move on to the official proceedings?
Not right now. You can also come talk to Nadala Zadova, but again, she'll send Chandra here with you as your envoy if you pick her. But of course, again, from what I know, and that's very little, obviously she's quite a wise person from the looks of things, so she'll be good at helping you with cultural matters and stuff like that, perhaps. But again, all of them have an alignment, and I'm pretty sure Cassil's is lawful good. I don't know what the other two's are, but I presume hers is like neutral or evil or something. And I think his might be like evil as well. So they are less good. You know, they'll say, oh yeah, throw a party for the real rich and the nobility and stuff, forget about the commoners, or focus on yourself, or, oh, you should help out the Sotovas and stuff, you know, they'll have their own self-interest and stuff at heart, they'll not care much about the people, whereas Cassil actually does care about the people. Yes, of course, he'll say, oh, you should side with the Eldoris and stuff like that, but, you don't have to side with them, of course, it's just his advice. But mainly, he's just an actual decent person. So he's the best one to have mingle with, I guess, Faye. Well, I didn't talk to like two of them. Doesn't matter.
We are here to honor 3 brave people who have done the impossible. They've tamed the stolen land.
Wasn't that impossible? Just killed the dude. Didn't do anything.
Captain Mager Vaughn, the conqueror of Dunsword, and finally, the tamer of the Shrike Hills, who put an end to the atrocities of the Stag Lord's bandits. Step forward.
Funny thing is how different the beginning of Varnhold's lot is, because it goes through this scene, but it's a lot different, obviously, because you're following from their side. And the funny thing is it doesn't show any of these companions. But weirdly is you choose a save file, because what you do in Varnhold's lot does carry over into the main game. So you should play through the DLC. You can do it whenever you want, you don't have to do it straight away. But it sort of runs alongside, because of course now we've gone to our capital to start our business in our barony, and then Varnhold, well, Varn and his lot will go to Varnhold to start up at their barony. So they sort of run alongside each other. Like I said, you can just pick one and play through that. It's like you don't have to play the DLC if you don't want to. Because, like I said, you end up going over there to help them out, and yes, what you've done, what you chose on the DLC, will affect that in some way, I believe, because it does carry over and affect it, but it shouldn't affect anything detrimental. Like I said, I don't actually know, so if you do know, feel free to tell me. But it's like, obviously, like I said, this is the main game. You don't have to play that DLC. It's just, it'll give you extra choices and maybe change things. I don't know whether for the better or worse. Like, there's an option where you say, oh yeah, send everything over there to that barony, and then you'll get it in the main game. Or what? Because the result is more or less the same from what I know. So, like I said, it's optional. And I don't know whether, like, I don't believe like the companions will carry over, because obviously in the DLC there's separate companions. You make your own character again, which is separate from this one, because you use like your main story save file, so it runs like alongside it. So you make your own character again to work with Varn. So it's good. It's like its own story. You can play it separately, but of course the effects, the things you choose will have an effect on the main story. But you don't have to, and I don't know what the effects are. Like I said, I've not actually finished it or anything, and then played on here to see what changes. But I just assume it's maybe some dialogue options or something, or maybe if you killed someone, of course they're not going to appear in the main game because they're dead, or you know, whatever. Because you do meet some of the same characters. I know at least one who appears in both, apart from Varn, and of course. No problem, kiddo. Or are you like a halfling or something? In which case I don't want to say kid. That's the problem though. You see like a small character and you're like, oh hello child, and I'm like, child, I'm a halfling, when I'm like in my 60s, like, oh, my apologies. Because obviously halflings are incredibly small. This is our town square, and that's an absolute tip. We would have our first vendor. How miserable. That is so sad. Straight in our tavern. Ah yes, let's go over there now, huh? Got a drink and everything. Like I said, a bunch of your companions will appear there, because why not? I don't know where they actually live. Funny thing is, you can just enter any of the houses in, you know, the town. I don't know, you know what they're supposed to, like, I've never actually entered any of them, because of course it's sort of just entering strangers' houses. I don't know what's in there. All barons can breathe fire. Well, I mean, I am part dragon, so for me that's true. I don't know about other barons. I don't believe Varn can breathe fire. But pretty cool though. And that little overlook area, and then you can magically just boom, there's some houses and stuff down there. That's cool. I actually kind of like how they've put stuff down there that you can see. It's not just emptiness, because they could have easily just not put anything down there. Of course it's just like a painting or something stuck on the edge there. It's not moving or anything. And I don't know if it changes when you upgrade your capital and stuff like it. It gets bigger. I don't know whether that changes either. Oh, there's that bell. Call the Stag Lord. Ugh, that was such a pain. Alright, and now we go into our throne room. The place with our big fancy seat that we sit on. Yeah, that one. Although I've got to say, it's a bit of a fire hazard having that big fire pit in the middle of it, because of course all the CO2 just going to gather up on the roof, and then eventually it'll suffocate. You need to like open a window or something. Do you have like a little roof hatch for it, or a chimney? Don't know. You can't actually see, but I'm just saying. How quickly, like, either it's been several days, if not more, since we went back to the capital, or these people work incredibly fast building things. Like, look at this. This building is huge. That didn't just take like 5 minutes. So there he is. Look, you get, you start off with 6 community, 6 loyalty, 3 military, 3 economy, 3 divine, 3 arcane, and 3 stability, and then you get a bunch of events and stuff straight away, just right off the bat, and yes, we'll get right into the whole kingdom management thing. I've got it set to like the easiest setting apart from auto, because I don't want the computer to just do it for me. And we immediately get like our first like continuous quest. Now this quest, I will say, I hate. I hate it. Not because it's difficult, but because it's a reoccurring quest. Yep, stats, development advisors. And now we can name this. Yes, okay, so we have advisors who are basically our companions, along with a couple of other people you will meet, can also be put in these slots. Because you can see Keston there, you should be able to see Jod and Casil just on the very bottom row, and then the bottom right, we've got an old elf dude, we'll meet him in a minute, and then of course you've got your companions. Now, your companions can only do certain things, so as you can see, Octavia and Valerie are the only two who can become regents. Councillor, we can only do Tristan. General, we can do Amiri, Rigongar, or Casil. Now, of course, +5 Rigongar. You think, oh, pick him, he's got the highest bonus there. But they do have an effect. Their personality and their alignment do affect things. Like, Amiri favours the direct approach, so she will just do whatever's easiest. You know, just whatever gets her from A to B. Simple. She doesn't consider other outside factors. Rigongar's hot-headed and direct, so he'll just say, oh, people are causing problems, just kill them. You know, not talk to them or try to find out what's going on, just kill them, problem solved, right? And then Casil actually strives to help those in need. So, of course, he's, like I said, he's a think lawful good. He will actually try to help people and do what's right. So he's the best one to have. Then we can't get a treasurer right now. We have no people who are available for that support, which is kind of annoying, but we'll meet the people later, trust me. And then you've got a high priest. You can do Jod, or you can do Harem. Now, the way this is the problem, because Jod does more traditional stuff. He tries to do it by the book, how it's usually done, whereas Harem does what's unusual but effective. I don't know what the difference is here. Like, I don't know which one's better personally. I just go for Harem, because he's got +4 instead of +3, and also he favours effective methods. They're unusual, but you know, it's not bad. And then of course Valerie, she does everything to the exact letter of the law. So if anyone breaks the law, even if it's for a good reason, you know, prison. Whereas Octavia just wants to solve things peacefully and help people. Tristan obviously cares for everyone, so he's obviously a good counsellor, and he's the only one you can pick anyway. But, you know, like I said, and then we will unlock more posts. There's 10 posts overall, I believe, so we've got another 5 to unlock, and each of them is basically tied to one of these main 5 in a way, because you'll get one which is sort of helping with like stability, and that sort of goes alongside the counsellor of being able to help the population stabilize them. You'll get another position, I can't remember what it is, but it's like working with the guards and stuff, so that obviously takes a load off the general's shoulders. So you got 2 military positions and stuff. So you basically got one which is like a branch of these, because you can see we have espionage, culture, stability, arcane, divine, relations, economy, military, loyalty, and community. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 positions there. So you got espionage, culture, stability, arcane, and relations are the 5 that we don't have, and then we have community, loyalty, military, economy, and divine. So basically, like I said, how it works is I believe the relations and the economy are tied. Yeah, Grand Diplomat, no. So when community reaches rank 4, community rank 4 for relations, you need divine rank 4 for a magister for the arcane. You need the military rank 4 for the warden. Yeah, that's it. And then culture, you need a counselor when the loyalty rank reaches 4, so the counselor there, and then you get a grand diplomat when relations reach rank 4. Now, so basically espionage is obviously countering spies and stuff, so I think it'll basically go along economy lines as well. Obviously this isn't quite how it works, but I'm just saying the ones that are effectively, it's the branch of, because when you reach, rank 4 military, the general will say, hey, I need help now, and then you'll unlock your warden. And same thing with community loyalty, the advisors for that position will approach you with the problem, and then you'll get someone to help them out, and then there'll be another one of these branches. Like I said, I'm not an expert in this by any means, and like I said, I've never completed the game actually, and I do terribly, if I'm honest. But the best thing to do, I feel, is just to immediately get someone, rebuild Temple of the Elk, so immediately jump into that. Then we'll claim the outskirts as territory. Like the ones that have your image next to the candidate you suggest are ones that you have to personally oversee. And obviously what you'll see is the differences of, these ones require you to meet them in their throne rooms, that's why it's your picture there. And these ones you just have to select a candidate. And then, okay, here. So it'll tell you the DC is basically how difficult it is, and it shows you the number is how high you have to roll. So you roll a regular d20 and then you add their score to it, which is +6. So we have a 70% chance of success, because that means we only need to roll a 7 or higher to pass, and that's pretty easy because that's 13 options that 14 actually, that we can choose from. It's only 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1 that are not good enough. You can add these crisis points which you get from basically up ranking your barony. Every time you get to a new rank and stuff, you'll get a crisis point and stuff, and if you add these, they add a bonus to the roll, which basically ensures victory. So look, you get +5 on 1, which of course is, and then you get +10, then +15, 20, and it goes up in 5s like that. Now of course I wouldn't use these unless you kind of need to pass it, otherwise you'll struggle, because of course these obviously has a value, and if these get low, the lower they go, then you basically obviously our barony is stable right now, people are happy with their lives and everything, and with us. But if these all start dropping down and stuff, and we fail lots of events and stuff like that, then it's going to start dropping down and stuff, and these values will all go down, and that's not good. We want them to go up, and of course they go up by you doing these events and things. But obviously success chance 70%, you think that's not great, but that's actually alright, because it's still a pretty decent chance. And honestly, like I said, you'll almost certainly pass most of them. It's when they're about 50, 55 and below that you should probably put in like a crisis point, because like 60 and above, pretty decent chance of passing, but anything lower than that, then you probably will struggle. And like I said, it's okay if you fail some, Obviously, if you're playing on a more difficult rank, then of course things will be harder. But just sort of in general, it's, you know, it's not a huge deal if you fail one or two. If you're failing all of them and your stats just plummet, then that's a problem. But that probably won't happen unless you just leave your capital, go off an adventure, and then don't return for several months, because you'll get a couple of new ones over the course of a month, and then they'll all have an expiry date. And then once, like at the beginning of a month, they will all expire, and you'll get new ones. So if you haven't put anyone to them, you'll automatically fail them, and then everything will sort of reset and you'll start again and everything. You just keep doing like every month. So it's good to visit your capital at least once a month, if not more, to make sure you've got people done. And you can put your advisors into positions to do stuff and to help out and everything, even when you're not in your capital, so long as you're within the boundaries of your territory. So as long as you're in the borders of your kingdom, you can still access the kingdom menu. Once you go outside of that, though, you can't access it. Yeah, so here you get a whole one for the common people, so obviously that gives you support with, you know, the commoners and everybody. You can do a luxurious one for, you know, the wealthy people, so that obviously gets you support from the wealthiest people, and probably better, you know, income, because of course the merchants and everything are going to support you. Or you can just not throw a party. You get 20 BP, which are the build points, which is used for building stuff and everything. But of course people aren't going to be very happy because you said, I'd rather have the money than be with you. So of course the right one is to help all the common people. So you get +2 community, +2 culture. And then you get the event, support the support whichever advisor it is in their endeavours. Now basically what that do is that'll bring up the rank of whatever they're doing. So he's the counsellor, so your loyalty will get a got a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, look, the court alchemist. Now, you talked to Bokken about him becoming your court alchemist. Now, if you haven't done the quest for him getting the fangberries and the radishes, then he'll ask you to do that first. If you've already done them, then he'll say, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, what the hell, and he'll do it. So like I said, it's might as well do them at the beginning while you're there anyway, because it saves you doing them now. You don't have to get him as your court alchemist, but it's not a huge deal, and you get some cool stuff out of it, so you might as well. So yeah, we've passed them now, and like I said, so it upranks your loyalty. It's current rank 1, and then it'll go up to rank 2. Now this will give you a permanent bonus to your loyalty, so whenever the counsellor does something, obviously like I said, it's +5 now, that'll go up to like +6 or +7 or whatever, which will of course give you more bonuses to stuff, which is what you want. Now at this point in the game, it's you've not got much to do, so you might as well help out. Yeah, here you go, the ancient curse. Now once it gets to the end of the month and the next month starts, so now, yeah, the first of Saranith, it'll trigger the event. You'll get some merchants in the capital, and that he succeeded, obviously, so we've got +4 military, so everyone's happy there. And now, here we go, the 8-legged plague. Now this is a problem. If you do not solve it, like, immediately, then every so often, every couple of days or so, every day or two, and that you'll get a negative to community and loyalty and stuff, because you're effectively letting these monsters attack and kill people and take over land the longer you wait, so it isn't great. Like I said, it's pretty important to pass, but it's not too difficult. So look, we've got +7 to loyalty now, which gives us a 65% chance, which is pretty decent, so we'll just do that. And and now we have troll invasion, which is actually something I wanted. 61, that's not great, but we should be okay with that. Troll invasion, this is what I wanted, because there are 2 more companions, not counting Kersey, who appear, and they'll not appear until you start the troll invasion quest. So once this pops up and you do it, you need to, well, do it as quick as possible, so you should just hang around your capital until it comes up. I think it'll be at the beginning of Saranith, the first, so make sure you do that, because those companions are obviously, well, I mean, they're companions, they're great to have, but of course that's more advisors. And one of them can be your treasurer. So we want to get them immediately. Yes, I'll deal with it, don't worry about that. And also...
Trolls who didn't fear fire? That sounded terrible, and
Yep.
dangerous, and terribly dangerous. If we couldn't rein them in, our young barony would be eaten up in a snap.
Okay, right. Now, the first thing we want to do is go to the Bald Hilltop. Oh, actually no, let's talk to the Storyteller. Now this is obviously one of the people you can have as one of your advisors. Now, he's a blind, very old elf. He is the Storyteller. Now, he'll ramble on about a lot of stuff, but what the interesting thing is you basically, if there are ancient artifacts you can find in fragments, you get him all of the fragments, he'll reconstruct that item. And also if you bring him these different relics and that, so the Roslandic coins, you get paid for each one of them you bring him. The token of the Dryad, you get paid for each one of them. Ancient Cyclops coins, the dog tags, so you'll find them all over the place. They're pretty common to come by actually, and he'll give you gold for each one you give him. So if you're ever struggling for money, just give him some of them and you'll immediately get some more, so it's pretty easy. Now what we're actually going to go and do is speak to Cassie in her house and start her quest, because then she'll go off and you have to go and join her. And there isn't a time limit to it. Some of the companion quests, if you leave long enough, you'll get a notification saying they're getting a little impatient. You said you'd help them, and it's been like 3-4 months now, so you should probably get on that. But from what I'm aware, you won't get that with her. She'll just wait there for however long it takes, because I've never had a pop-up saying that she's been waiting ages and she's getting a little impatient. So, you know, I don't know.
We should move.
And I don't know how long the time is until you fail. I am the Guardian of the Bloom.
Fate has changed since last we met. Now you are the ruler who will determine the destiny of these lands. I am their living heart. I will show you a place where we can finally meet in flesh, you and I. Deep in the woods, there is an old mossy ruins long abandoned, nearly swallowed by the thicket. There is an old tree growing among the stones in the yard, which I remember as a seed, a shadow under its green. Then come to my chamber and so long.
Yep, that's totally not a trap. Anyway. So yeah, with companion quests, I think there's a time limit. I just don't know how stringent it is or whether it changes. Because like I said, you'll get the thing saying, hurry up, they want you to help them. You said you would, and you haven't yet. So I don't know how long exactly the timers are, but it does seem that there are actually, you know, timers, and you've got to get it done. Complete long, but yeah, I don't want to get. And Vidal here. Now, this is sort of my go-to trader, because, well, he's a blacksmith, and, you know, I can sell him all my stuff. I don't have anything yet, but obviously you can come to him and buy. He's got some decent stuff, a cold iron longsword, which, yeah, against demons and fey creatures. So, basically this weapon is better against demons and fey. And of course they've got the +1 to them. And then of course you've got armour and everything, so he's a pretty good trader for armour and stuff. And like I said, I just always go to him whenever I've got anything to sell anyway, because the thing is, if you sell rare items, from what I know, they will keep them for like forever, or at least a reasonable amount of time. So you can always just go back and get them if you want. I don't know whether they do eventually disappear or what, because I've never really sold anything that I don't want. Okay, now here we are. Something strange is going on. Boom. Notice what changed? Her eyes. Her picture. Her portrait. She's a different person. Isn't that, you know, interesting? And what do you know? Now, feel free to pause and read this. It's a lot of stuff. It's just a pretty long story, so if you are interested, feel free to read it. Basically, Kolike here and her sister Kanera, don't know how to pronounce them, I'm rubbish with these names, but anyway, point is her sister died and she prayed to whoever would listen that she could see her again, and someone answered and she gets to, well, sort of see her again, but they basically inhabit the same body now, Gulike's body, and every so often they'll switch. Like you see, their eye colour will change, and of course they're two different people. So one of them goes into a plane and basically hibernates while the other one lives, and they just switch at random times. So they got in a lot of trouble because of course people were starting to notice, so they've never been able to stay in one place for so long. And the problem is they don't share memories or whatever, so what they'd often do is write stuff down before going to sleep and stuff, whatever happened in the day and everything, and then obviously the other person can memorize that and live that life. So they've made like a sort of alternate persona for themselves. And of course now she wants us to find this disc because hopefully it can help them get control and stuff. Like I said, I don't know whether there's actually time limit to this or not, because I waited like nearly a year in game, several months at least, and nothing. No, like, hurry the hell up. She's been stood up there for a year now waiting for you. So I don't know whether there is a time limit or not on her quest. There are on some, but not on hers it seems. So let's see, I'll take Valerie off and put Tristan on, because I can use his blessing and his healing and stuff. I don't actually need it per se, but you know, it's good to have because it gives a morale bonus and stuff, so that helps in combat. And honestly, Valerie's not a bad companion. I just feel she's a little plain. Of course, you can change her and do whatever you want with her. You could make her a spellcaster if you wanted, but her base class that she would be from the game's perspective is a tower shield specialist. So she has a sword and a huge shield, which means that she can take a lot of hits, but because of the shield she suffers penalties, so she can't hit a target too often, and she's sort of, you know, cumbersome, heavy, slow and everything, and it's like she doesn't have any special abilities because she just swings a sword. She doesn't have any spells or anything like that, so she's sort of a plain character. She's a cool character, but for combat purposes there are other people I'd rather have. And like I said, we will meet them, so we immediately go to the Bald Hilltop to do that. Because like I said, if we leave it too long we'll end up getting penalties and stuff. And if you come here, it'll immediately like stop it basically. And it won't pop up again until the next time it comes around, which is in one in-game year. So we got plenty of time. But the thing with this game, like I said, it's all about time management, because of course you need to manage your kingdom, because if it fails, like all the stats drop to 0 and everything, everyone becomes restless, and your kingdom falls, the game ends. You know, your barony needs to survive. That's like the main point of the game. But also, of course, you have quests, you have to do stories, you have to go places and help people and follow the main quest. You can't just sit in your throne room constantly just signing advices to stuff and never doing anything, because you'll also fail if you don't follow the main quest and solve the mysteries and everything. So you've got to multitask and spend your time wisely and everything, which is obviously quite difficult sometimes. Like I said, I've struggled with it, because, well, I'm incompetent, that's one reason. But also it's just, I find that it can be quite hard sometimes. Okay, have you guys attack Silky, because she's the leader, and the stuff will stop spawning again if we kill her. Doom Spider. And boom, there we go, gone.
I need a challenge.
And that's the first part of the quest done. Like I said, the only thing I hate about this quest is how it constantly just reappears again and again and again. Like, so once this year, like one in-game year later, we'll be back here again, fighting and stuff, and the mobs will be harder. It gets harder progressively. Of course, you'll level up by then, so you'll be stronger. Like I said, it gets harder and harder. And you've got to constantly sit on an advisor whenever it pops up and go and fight it immediately. Because mistakes I have made is like on the second to last day of the month just before. Like, okay, I'll help my advisor with this, and it takes 14 days. And so then it plows through to like the 12th or 13th day of the month that it appears, and then I get like a pop-up saying, oh, the plague and everything -2 and all these stats. Like 3 or 4 times it'll pop up. So then you'll immediately just lose a lot of your stats just like that. All because you were doing the things, so you gotta make sure you're on top of it. Okay, let's level up Tristan first. And then get our first companion. Well, our first new companion anyway, for this section of the game. You know what I mean. Okay.
Let's go.
Boomer Gnome. Hello, Gnome.
You cannot stand against me.
With all your might!
Unworthy.
Some kobolds. Oh, Tartok. I recognise that name. There's a purple kobold that seems just like your old friend Tartuccio. And here we go, that's our companion that we're gonna get, if you didn't know. Great guy. A little strange, but he's a good guy, I guess. I recognise you, Tartuccio. I recognise that purpleness. You're the only purple kobold ever. Racism. But yeah. Obviously he got revived, as we know. So that's why he's obviously appearing again. Attack.
There are other ways to cast the spell.
Kill them all. Let none survive. Bye bye, Tartok. He's gone.
The weak suffer, I endure.
It is done!
Okay, drop a save real quick. When it finishes saving anyway. And yeah, the funny thing is you will not get him as a companion if you lose this cart, which I found interesting, that you actually have to save it. If you fail, you're in trouble. One of us jumped on. Octavia's the best. It succeeded, yes. Tied a rope to the cart. Pulling. Pull cart out. Yes! Success. Thank God. First time. Hasn't always gone that well. Alright, Jubilust.
Jubilus Nartropple, at your grace's service. Your help with these kobolds and my almost drowned cart was timely indeed.
Oh God. Quintessentially British.
By the way, it's a shame no one organized a greeting party when such a famous and popular person as myself arrived to your capital. I wasn't expecting a red carpet covered with rose petals, but you could at least have sent ahead some delegation.
I don't know whether this was on purpose or what, but they sort of went for the, you know, snotty, noble British person.
Oh, at least some of my servants are still alive. Do you know how much it costs to train a proper servant?
Definitely British.
Sounds like your servants are nothing but tools to you. Truly, with masters like that, being a servant is not much of an improvement over being a slave.
What's this then? Huh. Run along, little girl. The grown-ups are talking.
Okay.
So, you're not only arrogant, but a boorish swine as well. Why am I not surprised at all?
Also, while I'm on that, I'd like to make an official announcement. The roads in your barony are in terrible condition. People must search for wading fords to cross the rivers because no one had bothered themselves with building bridges, and honest travelers have to take the risk of being attacked by kobolds at any moment.
Okay, first of all, kobolds aren't the biggest problem. Second of all, I've had this barony, what, like a week? 3 weeks. Like, 3 weeks, okay? Wait. So, actually no, a month and a bit. A month. Come on, Jubilus.
So,
Come on,
how
bit of
did you say
slacker.
your barony was called? Oh, whatever, never mind. When I draw the map of these lands, I will call them Maybe Local Baron Will Help. I guess it's a fitting name.
Oh God.
I've already told you I visited your capital some time ago. Weren't you listening to me? And I'm used to being greeted by officials when I arrive to settlements of at least some importance. The glory of myself and my exploits usually precedes me, and officials usually prefer to be on good terms with me. Yes, you're right. I should have remembered that your lands are in the middle of nowhere, and you don't get updates on important things in time.
Oh, sorry.
So what? I don't like a lot of things. You know what I do when I don't like something? I try to change it. For example, I don't like your barony's roads, so I've reported to the authorities about it, namely you. And as for you, instead of pouting, you'd better get down to business and try to resolve the trouble. I can see it's your first encounter with the freedom of speech. Just do what you consider right, and let others discuss it. You know, not everyone gets a chance to become a baron, so discussing a baron's actions is actually all the unlucky ones can do. Wow, a baron supporting freedom of speech. Well, that's news. Remains to be seen what you'll say after reading my article. My party and I set up camp at the
I love
bank
him.
of this
He's
river.
great.
We'd just finished kindling the fire when that purple bastard appeared.
Jubilus is like perfect. He's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite companion. I mean, I love him. He's
He
great.
told me he introduced himself as the king of the kobolds and told me he needed our clothes because he wanted to dress his subjects properly, you see, as long as they've established the kingdom of their own. That's literally what he said. I wonder, where did he learn the words? Obviously, I told him to buzz off. Some kobold wants to strut around wearing the clothes of the great cartographer Jubilos Nartropple. No way.
Oh, it's
So I've been
perfect.
explaining my position to him, being rather eloquent too, suggesting he and his so-called kingdom might as well fall into the deepest sinkhole. In the meantime, I've noticed that kobolds have already started to untie my cart. Well, I called my men to keep the cart safe. They couldn't guess what to do on their own, just stood there with their mouths ajar. Then things heated up as the fighting started, and while we were fighting, the ponies dragged the cart to the river. Ah, stupid animals. That was either a stupid and offensive joke or a case of total ignorance. The latter, I hope. I'm famous as a traveler, a cartographer, an alchemist, and a journalist. The students of all the major universities study the world using my maps. My articles for different journals are well known everywhere, from Andorran to Brevoy. You've definitely read some issues of National Alchemy, haven't you? Culinary Almanac of the Inner Sea? Or the most scandalous one, The Independence, describing benefits and drawbacks of governments and regimes in different states? Didn't read any of these? Oh, well, don't answer that. I don't want to spoil my impression of your barony. It's spoiled enough already. It would be hard for me to write at least something positive otherwise. I pursue 2 objectives. The first is to write an article on this new barony of yours for the Independents. The second is to draw a detailed map of the stolen lands. Before this barony appeared, it had been too dangerous to come here, but now an opportunity has appeared. Thanks to you, I must add. So, as you can see, the freedom of speech sometimes grants positive comments too. Anyway, I'm almost done with this journey. My article is practically ready, so is the map. All that's left to do now is to find an old Dwarven outpost established here several centuries ago. Your ignorance is stunning. You create a barony, and still you know nothing about the lands you own. I'll have to enlighten you on the subject.
Okay, just want to be a little pedantic about you there, Jubilist. The outpost you're looking for is located in the Nar Marches, which is a territory I don't yet control. So technically it's not in my barony, but, you know, just don't want to rub it in or anything. And also, you don't know where it is, so don't act like, you know, I'm ignorant when you don't know where it is either.
See, long ago, there was a Dwarven trade route crossing these lands. It connected 5 Kings Mountains and the north.
Wow.
The route was so important to the dwarves that they were generous enough to set a number of outposts along it, manned with armed guardians to provide protection for the traders.
Oh, that's nice of them.
One of these outposts must be somewhere nearby, lost and completely forsaken. But nothing can avoid the watchful eye of the great cartographer Jubilos Nartruple. I will find this outpost, and I will mark its location on the map. You can trust me on that. Why not? Dwarves like being underground, trolls like being underground too. It's quite possible after dwarves left, their warm and cozy place fell into the hands of less attractive creatures. Well, you proved to be a capable companion in a case of emergency. I guess I can entrust you with covering my back. Let's go. I will send someone for my cart later.
I'm very now we have him, so sorry Tristan, but gotta have the British gnome cartographer, many other thingers, kind of annoying but kind of cool as well, guy. And he has to have like a kind of a British name too, Nartruple. I mean, it doesn't sound British, but it's fancy, you know, long. You know, it's not just like, hey, I'm Jim, which would be very boring and plain. He's got to have a fancy name to go along with all of his other fanciness. Like I said, I kind of hate his personality, but I just, as a character, love him. Great. Perfect. So okay, there's one thing we need to do, like, immediately, because it's important, so that's what we're going to do, and that's move over here, and now we're in our territory, we can access the kingdom management. Go over to advisors, treasurer, boom, Jubilos. Perfect. And he's actually a pretty good one as well. So now all our slots are filled with the best ones we have on hand at the moment. These are all done. Everything, look, see, look, Magic Preserve, we get a bunch of bonuses there, that's nice. And obviously then, as Vansky offers, he can do that because he's the treasurer. He's careful with the money, basically that's his thing. Being cautious with his spending, which is cool. And I think what we'll do is we'll get a couple of buildings going in our new settlement we built up there. Because the thing is I want to get, obviously, like I said, the more stats you get up, and that provides 1 BP per week, 1 BP is lost due to low economy. So of course, get the economy up, and we'll get more BP. Obviously it sort of makes sense that the whole, you know, economy would help with money. So build most of the economy buildings, just throw them down here, there and everywhere. Get some wooden walls up for a bit of military there. Build a longhouse because we get a bunch of different minor bonuses. a barracks, because we need to have some military presence. And then build another shop. And let's see, a herbalist house, and that should be it. We've spent everything we have. There's 2 spaces left, and obviously as these get bigger, so once it gets to a town you get a bunch more spaces than as it goes to a city, because of course you need to have, once you get 3 villages you can then upgrade your capital to a town. And then once you've done that, you can start to, because once you need 3 villages for 1 town. Now this gives you more slots, but the first upgrade must be to your capital. So once you've done that, you have obviously a town, and then you'll have 2 villages, or 3 maybe, depends. And then once you get that up again, then you can upgrade another one to a town, and once you have 3 towns, you can then upgrade your capital to a city, and so on and so forth. And then eventually you should have a bunch of cities, towns, and villages, and these stats should be extremely high by like the end of the game. But that isn't going to happen anytime soon. So yeah, 5 days, 7, 10. So in 10 days, everything should be built. And we'll have a bunch of bonuses, mainly to our economy, because this one says 1 BP provided, but we'll lose 1 due to low economy. So if I get our economy up, we'll obviously not lose that BP, and also this should go up and we'll get more BP anyway. So that'll be 2, and then this will go up and we'll probably get another 1 or so there, so that's good. Obviously you don't get any because these are all 0, and we don't have any advisors in that, we don't have any buildings for that or anything, so that's extremely low. But that doesn't matter because they won't get upgraded till later anyway. Like I said, espionage, you don't need to focus on like any of those ones early, just focus on like loyalty, community, divine, and economy, and military as well. It's always good to have some military power in each town, because of course you don't want them to get attacked. I don't think they can get attacked, but you know, you should have a military presence anyway. So yeah, those are the ones to focus on. Relations, arcade, stability, culture, and espionage, leave until you've gotten advisors for that and you're actually earning it, because if you're not using it or anything and not getting any bonuses for it, there's no point having it, because you're not going to get anything from it. So our income should go up in a while, but yeah, I think this is a good enough place to end it. We've got ourselves a new companion, I had a bunch of other stuff. We've started to upgrade a town, we've got our own barony now, and we're immediately in trouble. Like, it's nice to have a barony. Oh, baron, we've got monster problems, troll problems, we've got a couple other things, some rebellions here, got things going on over there, just hell on earth. So yeah, we have Candlemere Tower here, but our other companion, our second one, we'll get here at the Ruined Watchtower, so we'll get them next time. And then Sorrow Falls up here to obviously do that quest, which is long, and the crossing for it is here, I believe. It's just there, which means you've got to go all the way across it, and you'll probably run into like 2 enemies at least. So what I'd advise is, because you have to go alone to do the quest, she doesn't want your companions with you, is take your party and go there to make sure the path is clear, but don't enter, and then come back, get rid of your party, and then you should be able to go, because the road should be clear, hopefully. I don't think that's quite how it works necessarily, but it's worked for me either way, so whatever. So yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, turn notifications on, so you don't miss out on new episodes and everything. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much, and goodbye.